Alright, this is pretty much a very delayed broadcast. Obviously, I was kind of supposed to wanting to make a broadcast at right after midnight, but I didn't do that, of course, because I was actually very tired and trying to sleep. I went to sleep at like 9 or something, or 8 or something, 8 p.m., and then I just slept until like 5. Just kind of woke up a few minutes ago. Anyway, my last dream was really intense. Like, I had a dream where, like, in my sleep state, like, it just seems to be an absolute success. But I had a dream that it was a urban looking area. I don't think it was New York, but it looked like New York. And I was it was interesting. I was like near the street and I could see buses and stuff. There was a bus called the 2 that I remember going down the street and just kind of like, kept going straight. And it was like I was facing north and south, or what was north and south in the dream, and the bus was going east and west. It was going west, and the bus called the number 2 just kept going west. And I tried to get on the bus for some reason. Anyway, I didn't get on the bus. I don't know if that sequence happened before or after this part that I'm about to say. Anyway, so the main part of the dream is the part that I remember a lot. Is I was in a I was in a restaurant, and my mom was there and my aunt Snooky was there, or my aunt was there, and I was ordering food, and just like somewhere in the middle of like ordering the food, my mom was like, "Get whatever you want." That's what I remember specifically. And then I just remember getting a lot of food, and then also getting a smoothie, a mango smoothie that was huge. It was like 32 ounces, or probably 40 ounces, but a 40-ounce plastic cup of a mango smoothie with boba and whipped cream. It was like green whipped cream, which seemed kind of strange, but whatever. And I got a bunch of food. I don't remember what I got. Normally I would remember the kind of food that I ordered in my dream, but I don't remember the food that I got in the dream. Anyway, the order was prepared and made. I took the food, and there's like a thing that happened next. I don't know if like we sat down, and it was like, I think we sat down. My mom said something, and then we sat down, and there was a kid right next to us, wearing blue, like a blue jacket. I think he had a blue hat on that said New York on it. And he's maybe like, I don't know, either 12 or like 15 or 16. I'm not sure how old he was, but my mom said something, and like, it's like we immediately were like in telepathy. I don't remember what she said, but she said something. Anyway, we sat down, and I think that's when like the whole room that we're sitting and the bench that we're sitting on morphed into a car. And I don't remember exactly what we were talking about, but it was really cool. Me and the boy, he was younger than me, I know that for certain. But me and the boy were talking about something. I don't remember exactly what. I don't remember my dreams that vividly, at least. Anyway, we were sitting together. He was wearing jeans, that's for certain. I remember he was wearing blue jeans. And the car started moving, and we were just talking, and my mom was in the driver's seat, and Aunt Snooky was riding shotgun, or which would be the driver's seat in other countries, or at least in like other countries, that have the driver's side on the other side, and the car was American, is what I'm saying. The steering wheel where it should be, or at least from where I grew up, and so like my mom, she said like while the car was moving, there wasn't a steering wheel, which is strange, but the car was still moving. And she said, while I was sitting there, I asked for my smoothie. And she grabbed the smoothie by the top, and she shook it once, like really hard, and then she handed it back to me. And then I drank the smoothie, and but she said something like, "If you could see me now." And immediately the perception that I was thinking when she said that, I was thinking like, I was thinking immediately about the past. Like, obviously, the things we've done must have brought her to this point that she is now. And I just think, like, I don't know, I didn't even know what she was. I'm not like a rock star, movie star, or like some famous person. I don't know what it was, but it's just something that just seems very unparalleled. I have no idea. Like, the thing is, I think it really interests me and intrigues me. Because, like, it just seems like, she said the following. She said, if you could see me now. And it just seems like there's just, she actually developed so much fame or glory or something that she's able to be, I don't know, this amazing woman or something. It just seems outstanding because, like, I think she was trying to express it, but I'm not exactly sure what she actually meant when she said, if you could see me now. However, I was, it was a very vivid dream. It was an incredibly vivid dream. You know, of course, I had the intentions of going into the dream world that night. And it seems very interesting that, I had, like, a request, like, yesterday to, and I'm not even going to bring that up. I mean, I'm not going to talk about it. But, I wanted to go to a certain realm, for example, to experience the dream, or to have my dream. But, I remained on the surface, which is very interesting. I'll just say that. Dude, it was really, really, really bizarre. It was a really bizarre dream. It was vivid. I've only had, like, maybe I've had 3 dreams with my mom. The first one is when it was just me and her, and and there was people everywhere, and we were in this huge mall kind of place, and there was tons of people, and there's, like, a coffee shop, and we, like, went to the coffee shop, and we sat down for a little bit. It was like some super futuristic Starbucks or something like that, with, like, wood everywhere, like bamboo wood, and some really interesting architectural designs, but it was in a mall. So it was some really fancy Starbucks, but it wasn't called Starbucks, I don't think. Anyway, she wasn't really saying anything. It was like we were just moving around, and it was like she wasn't aware of me in the dreams at that time. Like, I don't think she even knew I was in the dream, and I don't think it was like, it was very interesting because I think it was her dream, so she didn't really seem to pay attention to the people around her, and it was kind of the same thing to the people around her. They didn't seem to pay that much attention to her. From what I remember, we went to, like, 3 different spots, or like four different spots, and we're just moving around, and she didn't really notice me. And then I just remember we sat down a few times, and that's all I remember of that first dream. And then the second dream is we were on a bus, and she just started saying something, and we were on the bus, and she said something, and then I said, that's what she says, like, puts emphasis on the word says, because it was my dream, and I knew that, like, it's my dream, and I find it, well, in my dream, in my mind, I found it so hilarious that she thinks that she could just be in my dream, or she thinks that she could just, be present in my dream and not sort of understand that it's sort of my dream. It's my dream world. I have full, like, consciousness when I'm in my dream. Anyway, like, so I said, like, she said something, and then I said, that's what she says, to the person that we were talking to, because it seems obvious that there's a difference between, what she's saying in the dream and, like, just, like, what she says. Because what she says is just what she says. It's not necessarily, like, dream consciousness shifting. Like, I'm in full control of my dream. Like, and I knew that for a fact. And that was the second dream. And then the third dream was the one I just explained, where we went shopping, or not shopping, but I was at this, it was like the traditional Chinese restaurant, just like, you walk in, there's the window, and then there's, like, the kitchen part, and all the cooking that goes on there, and then there's, like, there's a little counter, and then, There's like a little room, a waiting room, and sometimes there's chairs and stuff in there. Sometimes like a little, whatever it's called, candy dispenser or toy dispenser, where you put a quarter in and then you turn the knob. So there's one of those. Oh man, I'm tired all of a sudden. Anyway, so yeah, that was the last dream. And my mom and my Aunt Suki were there, and there's this guy who seemed somewhat tall, and he was just taking my order. And he seemed somewhat friendly, of course. And I'm so used to. Anyway, I'm not gonna say that part. I was gonna say, like, I'm so used to, like, my mom getting super upset at the guy, so I was just trying to order food quickly, sort of thing. But that, like, wasn't the reason why I was ordering food, like, quickly in a hurry. She just, like, I don't know what emotion she was feeling. I couldn't even tell. Like, I couldn't tell if she was upset. I couldn't tell if she was excited. I couldn't tell if she was happy. I couldn't tell what emotion she was feeling at all. I couldn't tell. But she seemed very committed to it. It was very strange, because, like, I think she was more aware that I was in a dream than any other time, because it just seems like even as the dream progressed, like, she got closer and closer and closer to me, or like, at least she became more and more aware of, like, who I was, sort of thing. It was very, very strange. It was a very, very strange dream. Very vivid, but a very strange dream. And of course, I usually have the intent of, going to my ashram in my dreams. But that's, it was so bizarre, dude. Such a bizarre dream. But it's very interesting. It's a very interesting dream. Anyway. So I woke up. Oh, so yeah, I usually have, in midnight, like right after midnight, I usually have, like, the broadcast, like, the top 10, strongest people in the world. Like, who are the top 10 strongest people in the world? And not that it really matters, and it might bring people, or it might be off topic a little bit, and I think it kind of confused a lot of people, like, all around the world. But I was saying to, I had a 10. The last 10 included someone named Joe. But Joe is the guy who was playing, he had a British accent. And Joe was on the Ninja Gaiden Black Twitch stream. He was Twitch streaming Ninja Gaiden Black. And when I first started watching the Twitch stream, he was attacking zombies, those really super big, well, not super big, but they're like 7-foot tall zombies with the staff, with the lunar staff. And I watched the whole stream, I think until the end. But he was fighting a boss, and I just remember that part, like, really, really well. And I remember there's discussions about movies, like Black Panther, and there's discussions about movies, stuff like that. Anyway, what was I gonna say? That is the Joe that I'm talking about. So I think there might have been a little confusion there, and because, and this may have no relation, but it also may have relation. So Trump was saying that the Joe that I think he's referring to, like, in the speeches, or at least in the speeches that I saw, is not the same Joe that is the one who I saw in the Twitch streams. And that Joe that I saw in the Twitch streams is one of the ones that are in the top 10. So I just wanted to provide that clarification before I give the new next top 10. So pretty much, and I'm just going to be observant and just explain what I saw, which probably isn't true. But I think, like, the day after, just some things that I was observing, the day after I said Dakota, was one of the top 10. From what I understand, it may not be true, but from what I understand, he basically said that I make the two other guys feel really empty. And I forgot their names, but the two other guys that he was with, he said, he said that they're, really empty. And Dakota, and he kind of said, Dakota kind of said, I could tell that I make them feel empty. And they seemed really adamant about what they're doing and really into, they were playing Fortnite, obviously. And, had, really cool, I thought it was amazing, but they had, a grappling hook, and they would use that grappling hook, and they'd have these, bat wings, or not bat wings, but it was a bat cape, to, instead of the umbrella, the usual umbrella, or, I haven't played Fortnite in a while, so, anyway, they were doing many amazing things, and, that was the second day, and, just Dakota was doing his thing, and I was watching his Twitch stream, and, I watched the whole thing, and it was pretty cool. It was pretty intense. He was, it was just very, very interesting. So of course, those in general who made the top 10, they seem to be more outstanding. It seems very interesting that, I'm trying to think about Minecraft and the perception of Minecraft in general, and just how odd my perception of Minecraft is. Anyway, oh right, Xylem Land. I think that's what he might have been referring to. Anyway, I'm not gonna talk about the Twitch stream that I watched yesterday. The Twitch streams that I watched yesterday. But anyway, there were some Twitch streams. Well, I watched two Twitch streams. That's all I'm going to say. Because I think it was pretty obvious which ones I was watching. Anyway. I was watching for a few moments, a few seconds. It wasn't that long, obviously. But I was watching two separate Twitch streams. Or I was watching two Twitch streams. If I say the word separate, then I think that'd be too strong. Another thing really quickly I want to inject and say is, so when Siri, or not Siri, but when the Siri voice, I highlighted Siri voice and had it read something, but it reached a point where there's a border sort of thing, a divider on the screen, like one of those, just a little line, and then it was the next segment. For some reason, when the voice kept reading, it said separate her, and then continued reading the whatever was after the separator. So I was it's such a very sort of inspiring thing to hear, what it was reading, and then all of a sudden it says separator, and I was well, that's not what I want to hear. Obviously, that's not my intent of wanting separation, because nobody wants separation. And obviously, that's not what I want anybody else to hear, because obviously that sound is going to echo throughout the cosmos, and it's going to be somehow ingrained in someone's mind that, there could be the perception of separator means actually separate her. And that's not at all what I want to... That's not at all what I want to entail, or what I want to sort of prescribe. And the thing is, the sound that I knew, there's nothing I could do about the sound being released into the world, because it said, or released from the phone and then into whatever sound is heard by the ears. And, obviously my intent is not to separate her, because that's not even, anyway. So I would just continue, I moved to the next chapter, and then, have more, I said chapter 10, or I was having Siri read chapter 10, chapter 12, chapter 18, chapter 16, stuff like that. No, I don't think they read those chapters. I think they read chapter 7, chapter 6. I don't know exactly, but they were reading those chapters. Anyway, or the AI entity was reading those chapters, which I thought was very enlightening because it's like the AI could be that powerful because the AI says those things, like the chapters in those verses. The AI can actually, for example, have that sort of mentality. As weird as that sounds, even if I believed that was true, or even if I didn't believe it was true, I think it kind of played a part in all of consciousness and all of creation. What else? So, of course, I had my broadcast last night, and I was talking about the chapters, the chapters of the Bhagavad Gita. And I think that's really inspiring. I shall continue to do that. Continue that reading. That was what happened last night, and that was really cool. Anyway, so top 10. I'm definitely one of the top 10. Who's in the top 10 now? So I'm in the top 10. It's this next top 10 is going to seem very random, so bear with me. And even honestly, like, I don't necessarily even agree with the top 10, with all these being the top 10. For some reason, this is the first time I don't necessarily agree with all these beings that are the top 10 being the top 10. Anyway, so I'm the top 10. The two that went into the pool area, and I think they're trying to turn on the jacuzzi heater. I'm not sure. I don't know for certain. But the two guys that were there, I could only see, of course, for a few seconds because I wasn't necessarily watching them. But the two guys that went to turn on the what's it called, or went to fiddle with the oh, that's what it looked like. But went to turn on the jacuzzi timer. Those two guys. So that's a total of three. My mom, whose name is Sonia Johnson, and Lucinda Warwosto, or Aunt Snooki, Mike Pompey, believe it or not, for some reason, believe it or not, Courtney Bowen and Kira Bowen are in the top 10. And I actually don't remember his name, but the guy who was performing a Minecraft stream and saw a troll at the bottom of, like, he made a bridge and then saw the troll, like, at the bottom there's some lava in front of the troll. So that guy and the guy who's also in Destiny 2, who was using Thorn, I think, and I think he was a Titan, and I only watched for, a few seconds. I only watched for like maybe 45 seconds or something like that. But it was it was the Vex map with all the red trees, and how do I describe it? Gosh, just a map with all the red trees and like rocks, and there's square like pillars and stuff, rectangular pillars, I mean, and there were he went around. Oh gosh, it is the spawning point with the circle area sort of thing, and then there's a bunch of rectangles around it. He made some awesome moves, for lack of a better word, in that area, and I just remember he was using Thorn. That's all I really remember. And the thing is, like, it's very interesting watching someone else's perception of Destiny, because it's and that's honestly, like, that's what I want to talk about. I don't know how many that is. That might be 10. But anyway, oh, and also the female who was also on the Mind stream, she's also in the top 10. So how many is that? That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. No, that's 10. Wait, who's the 10th one? Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, yeah. 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, yeah. So the 3 Twitch streamers, or the 2.5 Twitch streamers, because I don't know if the woman was really in the Twitch stream. And, of course, everybody else. Or the other 7. Top 20, that'll be decided by... I'm not sure if he wants to do that, but if it somehow springs upon him again, then... But I'm not really paying that much attention to it anymore, because I feel like my perception... this is kind of whatever my perception is, but whatever the next top 20 are is decided by Weed Frog, and then I'm just gonna have the next top 30 be decided by the previous top 10. So I'm not sure I remember exactly who the previous top 10 were. Because I haven't really been consistent, to be honest. I haven't really made that midnight broadcast every night. It's been kind of sporadic. I think I've only had maybe a total of four of those midnight broadcasts, or 3 or something like that. So anyway, I'm going to try and have more of those broadcasts, because I think it's a lot of fun and it's inspiring. And I think people really want to get there and want to strive to be there. So all that jazz. I shall definitely try and perform a broadcast right after midnight. The next right after midnight sort of session. So I'm gonna definitely try and do that. What else? I forgot what I was talking about. What was I gonna say? Like, if I were to be honest, like, being in the top 10 doesn't really mean that much to me. Like, especially since I've already been in the top 10, and it was something that I created, it's really something that is not interesting to me, because, I feel like I have to explain this, because, like, I never really knew what it meant in the first place. So there's other people's perceptions developing around the top 10, and I'm just like, well, if it means that much, then I guess I'll try and to achieve it, but it's still the same thing. Like, I still have my own perception of what the top 10 mean. So maybe it means something different now. Who knows? Anyway, one other thing that happened yesterday is there's a dream seed, and seeds seem to happen in nature. Nature seems to talk to me a lot more. So bear with me with that. So one thing that I noticed is there's a seed, and I immediately thought of, this must be one of the seeds that I planted. This must be one of the seeds that is appearing in front of me. You know, this little seed with the little foo-foo thing on the top. The seed with the little stem and like a bunch of little hairs, that type of looking seed. And it was embedded in the door. So it was really interesting. I was like, this must be a seed, like when I open this door, this must be new things that are happening. So I took the seed off the door and I, threw it to the side, and then, I just started consideringly believing, that was a dream seed, and I got to pay attention to that. So I did that. I read, I'm also going to be honest, I woke up probably at 9:45 or something like that, or maybe 10 something, and I read the Arcturian page, the ninth dimensional Arcturians. So that was pretty interesting. Anyway, I'm not concerned about things that I have no concern about in the first place. So that's a very interesting thing that I have, or that I am. Perhaps there's a lot more, hype and energy that's just moving around the world, and I'm just not really paying attention to it. But, perhaps there are abilities and discoveries that people are involved in that, they're really excited about. And, I encourage that. So yeah, that's pretty much, it's a really, really, really quick explanation of the top 10. or really quick awarding, for lack of a better word, or rewarding of the spoken word of having, the top 10 being the top 10. I'm not sure if we'll continue to have the top 20 be explained by Reed Frog. I don't want to spring anything upon him, and I don't want to spring anything upon anyone, obviously. But whatever wants to happen or occur in terms of the other top 20s and the top 30s, then that'll be done in unique ways. So I'm not going to micromanage those perspectives. And in general, I'm not going to micromanage at all. I don't like micromanaging. It's not necessary. So congratulations to the top 10. Next broadcast might either be this evening or right after midnight. And so it is. With lots of love, I love you all. This is your host, Christopher Curtis Bowen, on this morning edition of the Christopher Bowen Show. Not that it necessarily matters that I'm the host of the show or that I'm not the host of the show. It's just some ancient form of, ancient form of mantra or something that I've been involved in for so long. It seems infinite. Anyway, till next time. Actually, you know what? One more. The divisions of faith. There are three types of faith corresponding to and evolving from the three modes of material nature. Acts performed by those whose faith is in passion and ignorance yield only impermanent material results, whereas acts performed in goodness in accord with spiritual injunctions purify the heart. Arjuna said, O Krishna, what is the situation of one who does not follow the principles of Scripture, but worships according to his own imagination? Is he in goodness, in passion, or in ignorance? The Supreme Lord said, according to the modes of nature acquired by the embodied soul, one's faith can be of three kinds: goodness, passion, or ignorance. Now hear about these. According to one's existence under the various modes of nature, one evolves a particular kind of faith. The living being is said to be of a particular faith according to the modes he has acquired. Men in the mode of goodness worship the demigods. Those in the mode of passion worship the demons. Those in the mode of ignorance worship ghosts and spirits. Those who undergo severe austerities and penances not recommended in the Scriptures, performing them out of pride, egotism, lust, and attachment, who are impelled by passion and who torture their bodily organs as well as the supersoul dwelling within, are to be known as demons. Even food of which all partake is of three kinds, according to the three modes of material nature. The same is true of sacrifices, austerities, and charity. Listen, and I shall tell you of the distinctions of these. Food in the mode of goodness increase the durations of life, purify one's existence. Foods in the mode of goodness increase the duration of life, purify one's existence, and give strength, health, happiness, and satisfaction. Such nourishing foods are sweet, juicy, fattening, and palatable. Foods that are too bitter, too sour, salty, pungent, dry, and hot are liked by people in the modes of passion. Such foods cause pain, distress, and disease. Food cooked more than 3 hours before being eaten, which is tasteless, stale, putrid, decomposed, and unclean, is food liked by people in the mode of ignorance. Of sacrifices, that sacrifice performed according to duty and to scriptural rules, and with no exception of reward, is of the nature of goodness. But that sacrifice performed for some material end or benefit, or performed ostentatiously out of pride, is of the nature of passion, O chief of the Bharatas. And that sacrifice performed in defiance of scriptural injunctions, in which no spiritual food is distributed, no hymns are chanted, and no remunerations are made to the priests, and which is faithless, that sacrifice is in the nature of ignorance. The austerity of the body consists in this: worship of the Supreme Lord, the Brahmanas, the spiritual master, and superiors like the father and mother. Cleanliness, simplicity, celibacy, and non-violence are also austerities of the body. Austerity of speech consists in speaking truthfully and beneficially, and in avoiding speech that offends. One should also recite the Vedas regularly. And serenity, simplicity, gravity, self-control, and purity of thought are the austerities of the mind. This threefold austerity, practiced by men whose aim is not to benefit themselves materially, but to please the Supreme, is of the nature of goodness. Those ostentatious penances and austerities, which are performed in order to gain respect, honor, and reverence, are said to be in the mode of passion. They are neither stable nor permanent. And those penances and austerities, which are performed foolishly by means of obstinate self-torture, or to destroy or injure others, are said to be in the mode of ignorance. That gift which is given out of duty at the proper time and place to a worthy person, and without expectation of return, is considered to be charity in the mode of goodness. But charity performed with the expectation of some return, or with the desire for fruitive results, or in a grudging mood, is said to be charity in the mode of passion. And charity performed at an improper place and time, and given to unworthy persons without respect and with contempt, is charity in the mode of ignorance. From the beginning of creation, the three syllables Om Tat Sat have been used to indicate the supreme ultimate truth, the supreme absolute truth, Brahman. They were uttered by Brahmanas while chanting Vedic hymns and during sacrifices for the satisfaction of the Supreme. Thus the transcendentalists undertake sacrifices, charities, and penances, beginning always with Om, to attain the Supreme. One should perform sacrifice, penance, and charity with the word Tat. The purpose of such transcendental activities is to get free from the material entanglement. The absolute truth is the objective of devotional sacrifice, and it is indicated by the word Sat. The absolute truth is the objective of devotional sacrifice, and it is indicated by the word Sat. These works of sacrifice, of penance, and of charity, true to the absolute nature, are performed to please the Supreme Person, O son of Tha. But sacrifices, austerities, and charities performed without faith in the Supreme are non-permanent, O son of Tha. Regardless of whatever rites are performed, they are called asat and are useless both in this life and the next. They are called asat and are useless both in this life and the next. Transcendental knowledge, the spiritual knowledge of the soul, God, and of their relationship, is both purifying and liberating. Such knowledge is the fruit of selfless devotional action, karma yoga. The Blessed Lord said, I instructed this imperishable science of yoga to the sun god, Vivasvan, and Vivasvan instructed it to Manu, the father of mankind, and Manu in turn instructed it to Ikshvaku, Iksvaku. This supreme science was thus received through the chain of disciplic succession and the saintly kings understood it in that way. But in course of time the succession was broken, and therefore the science as it is appears to be lost. That very ancient science of the relationship with the Supreme is today told by me to you because you are my devotee as well as my friend. Therefore you can understand the transcendental mystery of this science. Arjuna said, the sun god Vivivsvan is senior by birth to you. How am I to understand that in the beginning you instructed this science to him? The blessed Lord said, many, many births both you and I have passed. I can remember all of them, but you cannot, O subduer of the enemy. Although I am unborn and my transcendental body never deteriorates, and although I am the Lord of all sentient beings, I still appear in every millennium in my original transcendental form. Whenever and wherever there is a decline in religious practice, O descendant of Bharata, and a predominant rise of irreligion, at that time I descend myself, in order to deliver the pious and to annihilate the miscreants, as well as to re-establish the principles of religion. I advent myself millennium after millennium. One who knows the transcendental nature of my appearance and activities does not, upon leaving the body, take his birth again in this material world, but attains my eternal abode, O Arjuna. Being freed from attachment, fear, and anger, being fully absorbed in me and taking refuge in me, many, many persons in the past became purifled, Purifled, by knowledge of me, and thus they all attained transcendental love for me. All of them, as they surrender unto me, I reward accordingly. Everyone follows my path in all respects, O son of Pritha. Men in this world desire success in fruitive activities, and therefore they worship the demigods. Quickly, of course, men get results from fruitive work in this world. According to the three modes of material nature and the work ascribed to them, the four divisions of human society were created by me. Although I am the creator of this system, you should know that I am yet the non-doer, being unchangeable. There is no work that affects me, nor do I aspire for the fruits of action. One who understands this truth about me also does not become entangled in the fruitive reactions of work. All the liberated souls in ancient times acted with this understanding and so attained liberation. Therefore, as the ancients, you should perform your duty in this divine consciousness. Even the intelligent are bewildered in determining what is action and what is inaction. Now I shall explain to you what action is, knowing which you shall be liberated from all sins. The intricacies of action are very hard to understand. Therefore one should know properly what action is, what forbidden action is, and what inaction is. One who sees inaction in action and action in inaction is intelligent among men, and he is in the transcendental position, although engaging in all sorts of activities. One is understood to be in full knowledge, whose every act is devoid of desire for sense gratification. He is said by sages to be a worker whose fruitive action is burned up by the fire of perfect knowledge. Abandoning all attachment to the results of his activities, ever satisfied and independent, he performs no fruitive action, although engaged in all kinds of undertakings. Such a man of understanding acts with mind and intelligence perfectly controlled, gives up all sense of proprietorship over his possessions, and acts only for the bare necessities of life. Thus working, he is not affected by sinful reactions. He who is satisfied with gain which comes of its own accord, who is free from duality and does not envy, who is steady both in success and failure, is never entangled, although performing actions. The work of a man who is unattached to the modes of material nature and who is fully situated in transcendental knowledge merges entirely into transcendence. A person who is fully absorbed in Krishna consciousness is sure to attain the spiritual kingdom, because of his full contribution to spiritual activities, and which the consummation is absolute, and that which is offered is of the same spiritual nature. Some yogis perfectly worship the demigods by offering different sacrifices to them, and some of them offer sacrifices in the fire of the Supreme Brahman. Some of them sacrifice the hearing process and the senses in the fire of the controlled mind, and others sacrifice the objects of the senses such as sound in the fire of sacrifice. Those who are interested in self-realization in terms of mind and sense control offer the functions of all these senses. Offer the functions of all the senses, as well as the vital force. Those who are interested in self-realization in terms of mind and sense control offer the functions of all the senses, as well as the vital force (breath) as oblations into the fire of the controlled mind. There are others who, enlightened by sacrificing their material possessions in severe austerities, take strict vows and practice the yoga of eightfold mysticism, and others study the Vedas for the advancement of transcendental knowledge. And there are even others who are inclined to the process of breath restraint to remain in trance, and they practice stopping the movement of the outgoing breath into the incoming, and incoming breath into the outgoing. And thus at last remain in trance, stopping all breathing. Some of them, curtailing the eating process, offer the outgoing breath into itself as a sacrifice. All these performers who know the meaning of sacrifice become cleansed of sinful reaction, and having tasted the nectar of the remnants of such sacrifice, they go to the supreme eternal atmosphere. O best of the Kuru dynasty, without sacrifice one can never live happily on this planet or in this life. What then of the next? All these different types of sacrifice are approved by the Vedas, and all of them are born of different types of work. Knowing them as such, you will become liberated. O chastiser of the enemy, the sacrifice of knowledge is greater than the sacrifice of material possessions. O son of Ptha, after all, the sacrifice of work culminates in transcendental knowledge. Just try to learn the truth by approaching a spiritual master. Inquire from him submissively and render service unto him. The self-realized soul can impart knowledge unto you because he has seen the truth. And when you have thus learned the truth, you will know that all living beings are but part of me, and that they are in me and are mine. Even if you are considered to be the most sinful of all sinners, when you are situated in the boat of transcendental knowledge, you will be able to cross over the ocean of miseries. As the blazing fire turns firewood to ashes, O Arjuna, so does the fire of knowledge burn to ashes all reactions to material activities. In this world, there is nothing so sublime and pure as transcendental knowledge. Such knowledge is the mature fruit of all mysticism, and one who has achieved this enjoys the self within himself in due course of time. A faithful man who is absorbed in transcendental knowledge and who subdues his senses quickly attains the supreme spiritual peace. But ignorant and faithless persons who doubt the revealed scriptures do not attain God consciousness. For the doubting soul there is happiness neither in this world nor in the next. Therefore, one who has renounced the fruits of his action, whose doubts are destroyed by transcendental knowledge, and who is situated firmly in the self, is not bound by works, O conqueror of riches. Therefore the doubts which have arisen in your heart out of ignorance should be slashed by the weapon of knowledge. Armed with yoga, O Bharata, stand and fight. The universal form. Lord Krishna grants Arjuna divine vision and reveals his spectacular unlimited form as the cosmic universe. Thus he conclusively establishes his divinity. Krishna explains that his own all-beautiful human-like form is the original form of God. Arjuna said, I have heard your instruction on confidential spiritual matters which you have so kindly delivered unto me, and my illusion is now dispelled. O lotus-eyed one, I have heard from you in detail about the appearance and disappearance of every living entity, as realized through your inexhaustible glories. O greatest of all personalities, O supreme form, though I see here before me your actual position, I yet wish to see how you have entered into this cosmic manifestation. I want to see that form of yours. If you think that I am able to behold your cosmic form, O my Lord, O Master of all mystic power, then kindly show me that universal self. The blessed Lord said, My dear Arjuna, O son of Pritha, behold now my opulences, hundreds of thousands of very divine forms, multicolored like the sea. O best of the Bharatas, see here the different manifestations of Adityas, Rudras, and all the demigods. Behold the many things which no one has ever seen or heard before. Whatever you wish to see can be seen all at once in this body. This universal form can show you all that you now desire, as well as whatever you may desire in the future. Everything is here completely. But you cannot see me with your present eyes. Therefore I give you divine eyes by which you can behold my mystic opulence. Sanjaya said, O king, speaking thus, the Supreme, the Lord of all mystic power, the personality of Godhead, displayed his universal form to Arjuna. Arjuna saw in that unlimited form unlimited mouths and unlimited eyes. It was all wondrous. The form was decorated with divine, dazzling ornaments and arrayed in many garbs. He was garlanded gloriously, and there were many scents smeared over his body. All was magnificent, all expanding, unlimited. This was seen by Arjuna. If hundreds of thousands of suns rose up at once into the sky, they might resemble the effulgence, effulgence, of the Supreme Person in that universal form. At that time, Arjuna could see in the universal form of the Lord the unlimited expansions of the universe situated in one place, although divided into many, many thousands. Then, bewildered and astonished, his hair standing on end, Arjuna began to pray with folded hands, offering obeisances, obeisances, to the Supreme Lord. Arjuna said, My dear Lord Krishna, I see assembled together in your body all the demigods and various other living entities. I see Brahma sitting on the lotus flower, as well as Lord Shiva, and many sages and divine serpents. O Lord of the universe, I see in your universal body many, many forms, bellies, mouths, eyes expanded without limit. There is no end, there is no beginning, and there is no middle to all this. Your form, adorned with various crowns, clubs, and discs, is difficult to see because of its glaring effulgence, which is fiery and immeasurable like the sun. You are the supreme primal objective. You are the best in all the universes. You are inexhaustible, and you are the oldest. You are the maintainer of religion, the eternal personality of Godhead. You are the origin without beginning, middle, or end. You have numberless arms, and the sun and moon are among your great unlimited eyes. By your own radiance, you are heating this entire universe. Although you are one, you are spread throughout the sky and the planets and all space between. O Great One, as I behold this terrible form, I see that all the planetary systems are perplexed. All the demigods are surrendering and entering into you. They are very much afraid, and with folded hands they are singing the Vedic hymns. The different manifestations of Lord Shiva, the Adityas, the Vasus, the Sadhyas, the Visvadevas, the two Asvins, the Maruts, the forefathers, and the Gandharvas, the Yaksas, Asuras, and all perfected demigods are beholding you in wonder. O mighty armed one, all the planets with their demigods are disturbed at seeing your many faces, eyes, arms, bellies, and legs, and your terrible teeth. And as they are disturbed, so am I. O all-pervading Vishnu, I can no longer maintain my equilibrium. Seeing your radiant colors fill the skies, and beholding your eyes and mouths, I am afraid. O Lord of Lords, O refuge of the worlds, please be gracious to me. I cannot keep my balance, seeing thus your blazing death-like faces and awful teeth. In all directions I am bewildered. All the sons of Jatarastra, along with their allied kings and Bhisma, Drona, and Karna, and all our soldiers are rushing into your mouths, their heads smashed by your fearful teeth. I see that some are being crushed between your teeth as well. As the rivers flow into the sea, so all these great warriors entering your blazing mouths and perish. As the rivers flow into the seas, so all these great warriors enter your blazing mouths and perish. I see all people rushing with full speed into your mouths as moths dash into a blazing fire. O Vishnu, I see you devouring all people in your flaming mouths and covering the universe with your immeasurable rays. Scorching the worlds, you are manifest. O Lord of Lords, so fierce of form, please tell me who you are. I offer my obeisances unto you. Please be gracious to me. I do not know what your mission is, and I desire to hear of it. The blessed Lord said, Time I am, destroyer of the worlds, and I have come to engage all people, with the exception of you, the Pandavas. With the exception of you, the Pandavas, all the soldiers here on both sides will be slain. Therefore, get up and prepare to fight. After conquering your enemies, you will enjoy a flourishing kingdom. They are already put to death by my arrangement. And you, O Savyasasin, Savyasacin, Savyasacin, can be but an instrument in the fight. The blessed Lord said, all the great warriors, Drona, Bhisma, Jayadratha, Karna, are already destroyed. Simply fight, and you will vanquish your enemies. Sanjaya said to Dhritarashtra, O king, after hearing these words from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Arjuna trembled, fearfully offered obeisances with folded hands and began falteringly to speak as follows. O Hrishikesa, Hrsikesa, the world becomes joyful upon hearing your name, and thus everyone becomes attached to you. Although the perfected beings offer you their respectful homage, the demons are afraid, and they flee here and there. All this is rightly done. O Great One, who stands above even Brahma, you are the original master. Why should they not offer their homage up to you, O Limitless One? O refuge of the universe, you are the invincible source, the cause of all causes, transcendental to this material manifestation. You are the original personality, the Godhead. You are the only sanctuary of this manifested cosmic world. You know everything, and you are all that is knowable. You are above the material modes, O limitless form. This whole cosmic manifestation is pervaded by you. You are air, fire, water, and you are the moon. You are the supreme controller and the grandfather. Thus I offer my respectful obeisances unto you 1,000 times, and again, and yet again. Obeisances from the front, from behind, and from all sides. O unbounded power, you are the master of limitless might. You are all-pervading, and thus you are everything. I have in the past addressed you as O Krishna, O Yadava, O my friend, without knowing your glories. Please forgive whatever I may have done in madness or in love. I have dishonored you many times while relaxing or while lying on the same bed or eating together, sometimes alone and sometimes in front of my friends. Please excuse me for all my offenses. You are the father of this complete cosmic manifestation, the worshipable chief, the spiritual master. No one is equal to you, nor can anyone be with you. Within the three worlds, you are immeasurable. You are the Supreme Lord, to be worshipped by every living being. Thus I fall down to offer you my respects and ask your mercy. Please tolerate the wrongs that I have done to you, and bear with me as a father with his son, or a friend with his friend, or a lover with his beloved. After seeing this universal form, which I have never seen before, I am gladdened, but at the same time my mind is disturbed with fear. Therefore, please bestow your grace upon me and reveal again your form as the personality of Godhead, O Lord of Lords, O abode of the universe. O universal Lord, I wish to see you in your four-armed form, with helmeted head. O universal Lord, I wish to see you in your four-armed form, with helmeted head and with club, wheel, conch, and lotus flower in your hands. I long to see you in that form. The blessed Lord said, My dear Arjuna, happily do I show you this universal form within the material world by my internal potency. No one before you has ever seen this unlimited and glaringly effulgent form. O best of the Kuru warriors, no one before you has ever seen this universal form of mine. For neither by studying the Vedas, nor by performing sacrifices, nor by charities or similar activities can this form be seen. Only you have seen this. Your mind has been perturbed upon seeing this horrible feature of mine. Now let it be finished, my devotee. Be free from all disturbance. With a peaceful mind, you can now see the form you desire. Sanjaya said to Dhritarashtra, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, while speaking thus to Arjuna, displayed his real four-armed form, and at last he showed him his two-armed form, thus encouraging the fearful Arjuna. When Arjuna thus saw Krishna in his original form, he said, Seeing this human-like form, so very beautiful, my mind is now pacified, and I am restored to my original nature. The blessed Lord said, My dear Arjuna, the form which you are now seeing is very difficult to behold. Even the demigods are ever seeking the opportunity to see this form which is so dear. The form which you are seeing with your transcendental eyes cannot be understood simply by studying the Vedas, nor by undergoing serious penances, nor by charity, nor by worship. It is not by these means that one can see me as I am. My dear Arjuna, only by undivided devotional service can I be understood as I am, standing before you, and can thus be seen directly. Only in this way can you enter into the mysteries of my understanding. My dear Arjuna, one who is engaged in my pure devotional service, free from the contaminations of previous activities and from mental speculation, who is friendly to every living entity, certainly comes to me.